This story begins in the year 1209, when King Henry III founds the University of Cambridge. 3 centuries later, what is now the world's oldest publishing company, Cambridge University Press, is born with the mission of giving form to the knowledge generated in the university. Since the 15th century, the history of Cambridge's classrooms will forever be permeated with the knowledge and experience of the philosopher Francis Bacon, William Harvey's Heart, and the epic verses of John Milton. In 1661, the university begins to gravitate towards a universal figure, Isaac Newton. Malthus established the basis for modern demography. At that time, it was difficult to imagine that the world's population would be 7 times larger in only 200 years. During the 19th century, the university would be home to students as renowned as Romantic poet Lord Byron and Charles Darwin, who assuredly couldn't have predicted just how much human thought would evolve thanks to his theories. The first boat race between the eternal rivals was held in 1829. In 1848, Winton and Thring established the basis for the modern rules of football. They surely weren't aware at that time just how far this sport would go. In the 20th century, the university would train such influential people as the economist John Maynard Keynes, and one of the most brilliant minds in history, Bertrand Russell, Cambridge professor and future recipient of the Nobel Prize for Literature. The English language gains ground, and Cambridge ESOL, the university department specialised in exams, launches its first exam, proficiency. One of life's paradoxes. Even though the meaning of the word atom is indivisible, the atom itself was first split at the university's Cavendish laboratory. Cambridge ESOL launches First Certificate, which years later would become its flagship exam. The publishing company decided to cross the pond in 1950 to open a branch in New York. In 1953, a feat as complicated as saying its name was accomplished: to discover the structure of deoxyribonucleic acid. It must have been very complicated as well to imagine the influence this discovery would have in the future. History continues to write itself in the university's classrooms with personages as illustrious as the ethologist Jane Goodall or Stephen Hawking, both a student and professor at Cambridge. The publishing company took a chance with Raymond Murphy's project, which against all odds became the most sold grammar book in the world. In the 90s, the American English course Interchange becomes the world's most successful course to date. Cambridge University Press launches the Cambridge English Corpus, the largest database in existence concerning the use of the English language, how it's spoken, how it's written, what errors are made, 1.5 billion words analysed and counting. Soon after, the offices in Spain and China were opened. Now there are more than 50 offices worldwide. 1997 saw the launch of Cambridge Journals Online. It was difficult to predict at that time that it would have more than 180 million users a year. The first print-on-demand book and the first electronic book were published in 1999. 8 centuries ago, it must have been impossible to imagine that Cambridge University would be named as the #1 university in the world on several occasions, or that it would have more than 80 Nobel Prize recipients among its students and professors. 5 centuries ago, they wouldn't have thought that the same publishing company which published Isaac Newton would become the leading model of English teaching. Without a doubt, it must have been impossible to imagine all this. Or maybe not. Cambridge University Press. 5 centuries imagining the future.